You are not mostly human. Right now, at this exact second, 57% of every cell in your body is bacterial. And the scientific community didn't fully confirm that number until a landmark 2016 study out of the Weizmann Institute of Science in Israel. Everything you think you are, your mood, your cravings, your immune system, possibly even who you fall in love with, is being quietly negotiated by trillions of microscopic organisms living inside you. Let's get into it. Fact number 1, you are 57% bacteria by cell count, not 10%, not 90%, exactly 57%. For decades, textbooks claimed the human body contained 10 times more bacterial cells than human cells. That 10-to-1 ratio was everywhere, in classrooms, documentaries, medical schools. Then in 2016, researchers Ron Sender, Shai Fuchs, and Ron Milo at the Weizmann Institute ran the most rigorous cell count analysis ever conducted. Their conclusion? The ratio is almost exactly 1-to-1, with bacterial cells edging out human cells at approximately 38 trillion bacteria versus 30 trillion human cells. That's 57% bacterial by cell count. The old myth was off by a factor of 10, and nobody caught it for 40 years. Think about that. The science we trusted most completely about our own bodies was spectacularly wrong for 4 decades. Visual note, display a clean animated pie chart, 57% labeled in vivid blue for bacterial cells, 43% in warm amber for human cells. Follow with a side-by-side comparison infographic of the old 10-to-1 myth versus the corrected 1-to-1 ratio. Fact number 2, your gut bacteria collectively weigh up to 2 kilograms, heavier than your brain. Your brain weighs roughly 1.4 kilograms. Your entire gut microbiome? Up to 2 kilograms. That's a living, metabolically active organ, one that wasn't even officially recognized as an organ by most of the medical establishment until the early 2000s. The NIH Human Microbiome Project, launched in 2007, cataloged over 10,000 distinct microbial species living in and on the human body. These organisms collectively encode approximately 8 million unique genes. Your human genome? It contains roughly 20,000 genes. That means the microbial genes in your body outnumber your human genes by a ratio of 400-to-1. You are, in the most literal genetic sense, far more microbial than human. Visual note, show a side-by-side weight comparison infographic, a brain silhouette at 1.4 kilograms versus a gut bacteria cluster diagram at up to 2 kilograms. Then display a bar chart comparing 20,000 human genes to 8 million microbial genes. Fact number 3, your gut bacteria produce 95% of your body's serotonin. Serotonin is the neurotransmitter most associated with happiness, emotional stability, and well-being. Antidepressants like SSRIs work by targeting serotonin levels. And here's the part nobody tells you in the average doctor's office. Approximately 90-95% of all serotonin in your entire body is produced not in your brain, but in your gut, by your gut bacteria and the enterochromaffin cells they stimulate. This was confirmed in a groundbreaking 2015 study published in the journal Cell by researchers at Caltech, led by Dr. Elaine Seow. Germ-free mice raised with zero gut bacteria, had dramatically lower serotonin levels. When they reintroduced specific bacterial strains, serotonin levels normalized. Your mood is, in part, a product of your microbiome. Depression, anxiety, and emotional regulation are not purely brain events, they are whole-body microbial events. Visual note, display an anatomical diagram infographic showing serotonin production distribution, 90-95% in the gut shown in glowing gold, 5-10% in the brain shown in soft blue. Cite the 2015 Caltech Cell study in an on-screen caption. Fact number 4, babies born by C-section have a completely different microbiome, with measurable health consequences. When a baby travels through the birth canal, it is colonized in real time by the mother's vaginal and gut microbiota, a critical inoculation that kickstarts immune development. Babies born via cesarean section miss this entirely. A 2019 study published in Nature by researchers at the Wellcome Sanger Institute analyzed 596 babies and found that C-section babies were colonized instead by hospital environmental bacteria, including opportunistic pathogens. The downstream consequences are statistically significant. C-section-born individuals show higher rates of asthma, allergies, type 1 diabetes, and obesity later in life. Researchers in the same study attempted a process called vaginal seeding, swabbing C-section babies with the mother's vaginal microbiota immediately after birth, and found it partially restored the natural microbiome profile. The door through which you entered the world literally shaped the bacteria you'd carry for the rest of your life. Visual note: show a split-screen infographic comparing vaginal birth microbiome colonization versus C-section microbiome colonization. Use color-coded bacterial diversity charts. Display risk percentage comparisons for asthma, allergies, and metabolic conditions as labeled bar graphs. Fact number 5. Your microbiome is so unique it can be used as a forensic fingerprint. In 2015, researchers at the University of Colorado Boulder published a study in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences demonstrating that each person's microbiome is unique enough to identify them, like a biological fingerprint. They were able to match individuals to objects they had touched based on the microbial signature left behind with an accuracy rate of up to 100% in controlled conditions. Specifically, the skin microbiome on your hands transfers to keyboards, phones, and door handles with enough distinctiveness to identify you even days later. The FBI and forensic science community have since explored microbiome profiling as a supplementary tool in criminal investigation. Your invisible bacterial cloud is a signature no one else on Earth carries. Visual note: display a colorful scatter plot infographic showing distinct individual microbiome clusters, each cluster a different color representing a unique person. Add a diagram of microbial transfer from fingertip to surface. Keep all visuals abstract and data-driven. Fact number 6. Your gut bacteria can influence who you are attracted to via smell. This one sounds like science fiction, but it is textbook evolutionary biology. Your major histocompatibility complex, or MHC, is a cluster of genes that governs immune function. Research going back to the famous 1995 sweaty t-shirt study by immunologist Klaus Wedekind at the University of Bern showed that people consistently rate the body odor of MHC dissimilar partners as more attractive. Why does your microbiome factor in? Because a 2020 study published in Science Advances found that gut bacteria actively influence body odor chemistry by metabolizing compounds that are then released through sweat. Your microbiome, shaped by your genetics, diet, and environment, helps produce the chemical scent signals that subconsciously communicate your immune profile to potential mates. Your gut bacteria are, in a very real sense, a participant in your love life. Visual note: infographic showing the MHC gene cluster as a color-coded DNA diagram. Arrow pathway showing gut bacteria metabolic compounds sweat glands airborne scent molecules. Cite the 1995 Wedekind study and 2020 Science Advances study as on-screen text callouts. Fact number 7. Fecal microbiota transplants have a 90% success rate against a superbug that kills 30,000 Americans per year. Clostridium difficile, or C. diff, is a bacterial infection that causes severe, sometimes fatal intestinal disease. It kills approximately 29,000 to 30,000 Americans annually according to the CDC. It is notoriously resistant to standard antibiotics, with recurrence rates as high as 35% even after treatment. The solution that works better than any antibiotic ever developed? Transplanting healthy donor feces directly into the patient's gut. Fecal microbiota transplants, or FMTs, restore the healthy bacterial ecosystem and have demonstrated cure rates of up to 90% for recurrent C. diff in multiple clinical trials, including a landmark randomized controlled trial published in the New England Journal of Medicine in 2013. In January 2023, the FDA approved a commercially manufactured FMT product called Vowst, the first oral fecal microbiome therapy in history. The most powerful weapon against a deadly superbug is, quite literally, someone else's healthy gut bacteria. Visual note: display a clean clinical infographic showing C. diff recurrence rate under antibiotics, 35%, versus FMT cure rate, 90%, as a dramatic side-by-side bar chart. Show a timeline of FMT from experimental use to the 2023 FDA approval of Vowst. All visuals are data diagrams, no clinical photography. Fact number 8. The The microbiome can be transferred between species to transfer personality traits, proven in peer-reviewed research. Save the most mind-bending for last. In a 2011 study published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, researchers at McMaster University in Canada took gut bacteria from anxious, timid mice and transplanted them into bold, fearless mice, and vice versa. The result? The bold mice became measurably more anxious. The timid mice became measurably bolder. Personality traits crossed over with the microbiome. A 2019 follow-up study by John Cryan's team at University College Cork went further, transplanting human gut bacteria from individuals diagnosed with major depressive disorder into germ-free rats. The rats subsequently developed depression-like behaviors, reduced motivation, altered stress responses, and cognitive changes, despite having no genetic predisposition to depression. The bacteria carried the blueprint for the mood disorder. Your personality, your anxiety levels, your susceptibility to depression, the microbiome has a hand in all of it. You are not just what you eat. You are, in part, who your bacteria are. Visual note: show a clean split panel infographic with two mouse silhouettes, arrows showing microbiome swap, with behavioral trait labels flipping between them. Second panel, a human gut bacteria diagram with a transfer arrow to a rat diagram, with mood/behavior change indicators shown as color-shifting graphs. Cite the McMaster 2011 PNAS study and the 2019 UCC study. Let's bring that together. You are 57% bacteria. Those bacteria weigh more than your brain, produce nearly all your serotonin, help determine your health the moment you were born, leave a unique forensic signature everywhere you go, influence your romantic attractions, defeat superbugs better than our best antibiotics, and can transfer personality traits between species. You are not a human with bacteria inside you. You are a superorganism, a collaboration between your human cells and trillions of microbial partners that have been shaping life on this planet for 3.8 billion years. Subscribe to Moonlit Minds for daily mind-blowing facts that will change how you see the world.